Hi, this is Yugandhar. Today I will speak about one of the fundamental theorems in the distributed systems. It's called PACLC theorem. In fact, it is an extension of cap theorem. As you can see, the first three letters of PACLC, it's actually nothing but a cap. As the name indicates, it just extends the cap theorem. So, cap theorem fundamentally says that if there is a partition, that means given a network of nodes, if there is a problem in the network or nodes, the overall system must choose between availability and consistency. That is the cap theorem part. The ELC part, where this theorem extends, is that if there is no problem in the system, if there is no problem in the nodes or the network, the overall system must choose between latency and consistency. This is the extra part. It says that you need to trade one of them. Let's look into an example to understand this better. Assume we have a database consisting of 5 nodes. These 5 nodes are connected by a network. These nodes receive read-write requests so that you can store the values and you can read the values out of it. And we will see different cases of if there is a partition problem. That means if there is a network problem, or if some nodes are not reachable, or if some nodes are not going down, like how the system trades off between consistency and availability. We will see the examples. Assume that something bad happened and the nodes are disconnected. That means it made two partitions, node 1 and node 2, and node 3 and node 4, node 5 are in another partitions. Now, what if we choose consistency or availability? Let's say if there is some write for a given key, we want to write apple to the node 1. We say that we want it to be consistent, but for consistency we need to choose at least 3 nodes to write. We can call it as a write quorum. Since we don't have quorum of nodes to write reachable from the node 1, we say that we can't write this anymore. Sorry, and we say that the system is unavailable. So here it is choosing the consistency over availability. Even though the nodes are up, 2 nodes are up, it says that I don't have enough nodes up, so I would call this as unavailable. I'm sorry. Now we focus on different choice. For the same given case of network partition, we try to see how can we achieve more availability by trading off consistency. So assume that we have same network partition, like 2 nodes in one partition, another 3 nodes in another partition. Now we write to the apple to the node 1. Node 1 says that okay, I will write to node 1 and node 2 and says that this is successful and acknowledge write as success. But if another client tries to read the same value from the node 5, it won't be able to read the value. Even though if you try to read from read quorum, it says that I can read only from read node 3 and node 4 and node 5, and they don't have this apple value. So they will say that okay, uh, I don't have apple. And here we are losing the consistency. Even though another client has written apple to the system, we are unable to retrieve it. So this is what we call it as inconsistency. The summary is that this is so far it's as good as a cap theorem. Here we are choosing consistency or availability, but not both at the same time. All the systems, something like spanner, including spanner, they need to choose one after the other. So even though this spanner paper says that they are having both availability and consistency, it is not true. They are choosing consistency or availability, but they're making sure that they're so good available, right? So but it is still theoretically it is consistency or availability. Every database system in the world needs to choose one or the other, but you can't choose both. Just remember that. Now we will consider a case if there is no problem in the database systems, that is there is no network partitions or there is no node failures, then what are the trade-offs we need to make? So one simple thing is consistency over latency. In the case of consistency, as we shown here, we need to do read and writes from at least 6 nodes, that is more than 5. While doing such a large number of reads plus writes, you will get a better consistency. That means like at least same node will have both reads and writes. So you will get a consistency. But since you are consulting like n plus 1 nodes, you will lose the latency. Uh, but if you choose to write to or like read to the only one node, you will get a better latency, but you will lose the consistency. That is the trade-off it is talking about, that ELC part. In summary, PACLC theorem says that like if there is a network or node problems, you need to choose between availability versus consistency, or if there is no problem in the network or nodes, you need to choose between latency and consistency. For latency, you need to write to the only one node or two nodes, whereas for consistency, you need to read and write to the at least n nodes, at least n plus one nodes, so that like the results will be always consistent. This is what like PACLC theorem tries to convey about. Thank you. Hope to make more videos.